All right, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. This is your boy Dash True Inferno. Back at it with another throwback tunes on another Thursday, and I'm gonna warn you guys and gals right here, right now. Pause the video, grab some snacks and a drink. This is gonna be a long one because there's a lot of info here with this one. Never Say Never by Brandy. This is her second album that she released. It was done on Atlantic Records, came out June 9, 1998. It was recorded from October 1997 to April 1998 under Atlantic Records. Brandy was the executive producer, as was Robert Jerkins, and David Paris was the executive producer, as well as Craig Coleman. Also, we got Dallas Austin, David Foster, Fred Jenkins III, Brad Gilderman, Harvey Mason Jr., Mark Nelson, and Guy Roach involved with the production of this album as well. Roach, R-O-C-H-E. Hope that's pronounced his last name correctly. All right, so let's take a look at the accomplishment that this album got. It was 13th in the Australian album chart, 17th in the Austrian album charts, 21st in the Belgian album charts, which is the Ultra Top Flanders, 3rd in the Canadian album charts, 5th in the Dutch album charts, 12th in both the Europe charts, which is the European Top 100 Albums charts, and 12th on the French album charts, which is the SNEP. It was 10th on the German album charts, 14th in the Japanese album charts, 16th in New Zealand album charts, 25th in the Norwegian album charts, 64th on the Scottish album charts, 15th on the Swedish album charts, 11th on the Swiss album charts, 19th on the UK album charts, and number 1 in the UK R&B album charts, and number 2 in both the US Billboard 200 and the US Top R&B/Hip Hop Albums charts. By the end of the year, 1998, it was 13th in the Canadian album charts, 64th on the Dutch album charts, 69th on the Europe album charts, 59th in the French album charts, 55th in the German album charts, 68th on the UK album charts, 29th on the US Billboard 200, and it springboarded up to number 1 on the US Top R&B/Hip Hop Album charts. By the end of the year, 1999, it was 95th on the Australian album charts, 26th on the US Billboard 200, 21st on the US Top R&B/Hip Hop Album charts, and by the end of the decade, which is 1999, it was 79th on the US Billboard 200. And it was certified platinum in Australia and Japan and the United Kingdom, with 70,000 copies sold in Australia, 200,000 copies sold in Japan, and 300,000 copies sold in the United Kingdom. It was 4-time platinums in Canada with 400,000 copies sold there. It was it was gold, in France, and gold in New Zealand with 165,700 copies sold in France, and it got 7,500 copies sold in New Zealand, and of course in the US it was 5 times platinum with 5 million copies sold here. So, and I believe I said the album came out June 9th, 1998. Yes, I did. Now, in terms of other places, it came out in France June 4th, 1998. It came out in Europe June 8th, 1998. So it came out in other places before it hit the US. And of course, it came out in Canada the same day it came out in the US. So that's really interesting. Very interesting if you ask me. So there you go with that. A lot of stuff right off the bat. Oh, and by the way, it sold 15 million copies worldwide. So throwing that out there as well. Now, looking at the tracks, here's the deal with the tracks. There are 16 tracks. Now, there is a limited edition, which is a second disc, but we only go focus on the main album. So within the 16 tracks, there are 2 skits. So I can only give you guys the top 3, not top 5. So 14 of these tracks, actual songs. Now, the first track is called Intro. And check this out. This album, there's 16 tracks in this album. Half of them are singles. Half of them, or considered singles. Let's move on. The second track is Angel in Disguise, which is, I believe that's the 4th single. Then, of course, this is the song that elevated Brandy to superstardom, The Boy Is Mine, duet with Monica. And this is also the song that put Monica on the map, in my opinion. I never heard of Monica prior to that song right there. That's the song that elevate both of them to superstardom. To me, Brandy was already on the map prior to this album dropping, but this elevate her to superstardom. Monica, on the other hand, not only did this, in my opinion, elevate her to superstardom, but this song also put her on the map as well. Track number 4, and also it's the very first single off this album. Track number 4 is called Learn the Hard Way, followed by Almost Doesn't Count, which is the 5th single off this album. Then we got Top of the World featuring Mace, which is another single, the second single off this album. Then we got You Don't Know Me, and then in parentheses, Like You Used To. You as in the letter U on both of those. And that's another single off of this album. That's actually the sixth single off this album. Then we got another single, Never Say Never, the same name as the album. That's the last single off this album. Track number 9 is called Truthfully, followed by Have You Ever with a question mark, which is another single, and that is the third single off this album. Then we got Put That On Everything, and then we got the second final skit off this album, which is called In the Car Interlude. Track number 13 is called Happy, followed by Woman Voice. Then we got Tomorrow, and the last track off this album is, and in parentheses, Everything I Do, outside of parentheses, I Do It For You, which is the seventh single off of this album. So there you go with all the singles. Now, in case you're wondering about the limited edition, they got a Have You Ever Soul Skank remix. I have not heard that one. But the next one, though, we got Top of the World Boogie Soul Remix Radio Edition. And I believe that's the one that features Fat Joe and Big Pun. And that one's actually on Big Pun's third single, which is like a collection of songs that he had been released. And that came out after he passed. So there's that. Now, let's move on to the first single off this album, which is The Boy Is Mine. Pause on that one. This single came out May 19, 1998, and it was recorded from October to December of the same year, which is 1997. It was recorded in LA and in Atlanta. So there's that. And there's like, the album version is longer than the radio version, by the way. And yes, there's a music video for this as well. So let's see, any more info on this album. So it was nominated for 2 MTV Video Music Awards, including Video of the Year and Best R&B Video, and apparently I'm not sure if it won, but The Boy Is Mine was awarded the Grammy Award for Best R&B vocal performance by a duo or group, and received nominations for both Record of the Year and Best R&B Song in 1999. At the Billboard Music Award, the song won in 3 categories, including Hot 100 Sales Singles of the Year. In 2008, Billboard listed this song 54th on its 50th anniversary all-time Hot 100 Top Songs chart, and 18th on the all-time Top R&B/hip-hop songs countdown. In 2012, the singers reunited on the single It All Belongs to Me. That's interesting. Very interesting indeed. Alright, so this song was a song that Brandy wrote with Rodney Darkchild Jerkins. Darkchild, expect to hear that name a bit. His brother Fred Jerkins III, Japhe, Japhe, Tahita, and LaShawn Daniels. The singer came up with this concept while watching an episode of The Jerry Springer Show, where love triangles among the guests were themed. Created as a solo track, Brandy originally recorded the song alone. After listening to the result, however, C and Jerkins thought it would work better as a duet. So I'm assuming this is, oh, okay, never mind. I thought that was Monica, never mind. An idea which was further inspired by Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson's 1982 hit duet, The Girl Is Mine. At Brandy's request, her label, Atlanta Records, approached fellow R&B teen singer Monica to collaborate. The pair had seen each other in passing at award shows and other live events, and Brandy thought a duet would help combat ongoing rumors that the singers were rivals. Ooh, I did not know that. With the permission of Clive Davis, who headed Monica's record company, Arista Record, Monica eventually signed on to the project. So originally, the 2 artists recorded their vocals for the song together with Jerkins and his production team at the Record One studio in North Hollywood. However, the joint recording failed to be a failure, so Monica re-recorded her vocals separately at the Darp Studios in Atlanta with longtime contributor Dallas Austin, and turned the song into a more mature pop song. Thus, Austin would later share the main production credit alongside Jenkins. Though both Brandy and Monica repeatedly denied the song reflect any actual rivalry between them, tabloids began writing the opposite. I think I recall hearing something about that when this song came out. I don't remember. There were claims that Monica was upset when Brandy performed the song solo on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, and Brandy was reported miffed when Monica opted to take the name of the duet of the title of her second album. Finally, reports that the pair came to blows during a rehearsal for performance at the MTV Video Music Awards in September 1998. Talk of the rivalry became so loud that the singers' managers released a joint statement in which they called the press out for its, and I quote, disturbing behavior, end quote, and called the, end quoting again, ongoing negativity as totally unfair, end quote. As with the Boys Mind, pause, Jerkins later claimed that both singers didn't get along, end quote, during production, and that he and Dexter Simmons remixed the track 7 times to keep everything even. In a 2012 interview with WZMX, Monica spoke about her past relationship with Brandy, and we quoted her here. "We were young, we could barely stay in the same room with each other. By no means was it jealousy or envy. She and I are polar opposites, and instead of embracing that, we use our differences as reasons not to be amongst each other." So wow, there was a little bit of beef between the two. That's very interesting. And of course, there was a music video for this as well, which features a well-known actor, I'm gonna butcher his first name, Melchi Pfeiffer. So yeah, there you go with that. Now, the most dreaded thing about this song, the charts. Oh my gosh, the charts. It was 3rd in Australia, 6th in Austria, 4th on Belgium Ultra Top 50 Flanders, 2nd in Belgium Ultra Top 50 Wallonia, number 1 in the Canadian Top Singles, Canada Dance, and Canada Urban charts, number 3 in Denmark, number 2 in Europe and in France, 5th in Germany, 4th in Greece, 2nd in Ireland, and Iceland and Ireland rather, 10th in Italy, number 1 in the Netherlands Dutch Top 40 and the Netherlands Single Top 100, and in New Zealand, number 2 in Norway, 22nd in Scotland, number 3 in Sweden and in Switzerland, number 2 in the UK Singles Charts, 7 in the UK Dance Charts, number 3 in the US Mainstream Top 40, and number 1 in the remaining charts, UK R&B, US Billboard Hot 100, US Hot Dance Single Sales, US Hot R&B/Hip Hop Songs, and the US Rhythmic Charts. By the end of the year 1998, it was 17th in Australia, 22nd in Austria, 35th in Belgium Ultra Top 50 Wallonia, 10th in the Ultra Top 50, 35th on Belgium Ultra Top 50 Flanders, 10th on Belgium Ultra Top 50 Wallonia, 7th in the Canadian Top Singles Charts and the Canadian Dance Charts, number 1 in the Canada Urban Charts, number 9 in Europe, 5th in France, 17th in Germany, 3rd in Iceland, 8th in both Netherlands charts, Dutch Top 40 and Mega Singles Top 100, 3rd in New Zealand, 20th in Sweden, 13th in Switzerland, 18th in the UK Singles charts, number 2 in the US Billboard Hot 100, 19th in the US Mainstream Top 40, and number 3 in both the US Hot R&B Singles and in the US Rhythmic charts. By the end of the decade, 1999, obviously, it was 8th on the US Billboard Hot 100. Now check this out. All-time charts. Now this was updated back to 2018, that is. It is 70 on the US Billboard Hot 100. All-time charts. That's crazy. Looking at the certifications and sales, it was platinum in Australia, Belgium, France, Netherlands, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom. 70,000 copies sold in Australia, 50,000 copies sold in Belgium, 662,000 copies sold in France, 75,000 copies sold in New Zealand, 10,000 copies sold in, 75,000 copies sold in the Netherlands, 10,000 copies sold in New Zealand, and 816,000 copies sold in the UK. It was gold in Germany, Norway, Sweden, and Switzerland. 250,000 copies sold in Germany, no sales number listed for Norway, 15,000 copies sold in Sweden, 25,000 copies sold in Switzerland, and of course, the US, it was double platinum with, check this out, 2,591,000 copies sold. That's a unusual number, but whatever. And looking at the accolades, it was all this done by Billboard. It was amongst the 1,001 songs you must hear before you die and the 10,001 you must download in 2010. It was on the Bruce Pollock, the 7,500 most important songs of 1944 to 2000, and it was placed there in 2005. And it was on Michelangelo Mattos, the top 100 singles of the 90s, and it was placed there in 2001. And it came out in the US May 19, 1998 as a CD single, but it came out on the radio May 5th, 1998 in the US. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of stuff for this joint right here. A lot of stuff. And of course, there were remixes and cover songs as well, but I ain't gonna get into all that. But yeah, there you go with that. Moving on to the next single off this album, which is called Top of the World featuring Mace. This joint came out July 3rd, 1998 as a US airplay, but it came out November 6th, 1998 as a CD single. And yes, there is a music video for this as well. And it became a huge success on BET and MTV. And let's see. The song was performed live at the MTV Music Awards. And again, this is the remix version right here with Big Pun and Fat Joe. She performed that at the Soul Train Awards. And there you go with that. And like I said, I mentioned the remix. That was on the Endangered Species album, which was again done by Big Pun. And it was released after he died, unfortunately. And moving on, looking at the charts. It is 39th in Australia, 22nd in Canada top singles, #1 in both Canada Dance and Canada Urban, 20th in Europe, 39th in France, 42nd in Germany, 3rd in Iceland, 18th in Ireland, I almost got them mixed up, 5th in Netherlands Dutch top 40 tip parade, 52nd on the Netherlands single top 100, 11th in New Zealand, 17th in Scotland, 52nd in Sweden, 42nd in Switzerland, #2 in the UK singles, #1 in the UK R&B, 44th in the US radio song, 4th in the US R&B/hip hop airplay chart, and 10th on the US rhythm charts as well. By the end of the year 1998, it was 81st in the Canada's top singles charts, 7th in the Canada urban charts, and 107th in the UK singles charts. And it was silver in the UK with 200,000 copies sold. And I think I mentioned it, but yes, there is a music video for this as well. Just the original, not the remix. So, yeah. And we're just getting started. Let's move on to the third single off of this album, and that would be Have You Ever. The joint came out 1998. It was recorded in 1997. Yes, there is a music video for this. It's a very interesting music video as well. And it was actually nominated for Best R&B Video, but it lost to Lauryn Hill's Do Rock That Thing. I can see that. So there's that. And let's see. Obviously, it was another success as it was on BET and MTV. And she performed it on several televised programs. And let's see. A little bit of background info. So for this album, she chose to work with other music producers as she wanted to create more adult material, being partly inspired by her idols Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey. She had greater creative control than on her previous album and became one of the lead producers for the project. So that's pretty interesting as well. And this song was included in her first compilation album, The Best of Brandy. So there's that. And looking at the charts, okay, they're alright. 8th in Australia, 3rd in Belgium, Ultra Tip Flanders, 13th in the Canada top singles, 15th in the Canada adult contemporary charts, 9th in the Canada dance/urban charts, 59th in Europe, 85th in France, 58th in Germany, 2nd in Iceland, 25th in Ireland, 22nd in the Dutch top 40, 23rd on the singles top 100, both in the Netherlands, #1 in New Zealand, 26th in Scotland, 57th in Sweden, 13th in the UK singles charts, 4th in the UK R&B charts, #1 in both the US Billboard Hot 100 and the US Rhythmic charts as well, 25th in the US Adult Contemporary charts, #2 in the US Hot R&B/hip hop songs charts, and #3 in the US Mainstream Top 40. By the end of the year, 1999 that is, it was 47 in Australia, 68 in the Canada top singles, 83rd in Canada Adult Contemporary, 146 in the Netherlands Dutch Top 40, 14th in the US Billboard Hot 100, 39th in the US Hot R&B/hip hop songs, 14th on the US Mainstream Top 40, and #8 on the US Rhythmic charts as well. And it was platinum in Australia with 70,000 copies gold, and it was gold in New Zealand with 5,000 copies sold. Let's move on now to Angel in Disguise. So, even though it said this single was released in January 21st, 1999, and it was recorded in 1998, here's the thing though. It became Brandy's first song to make it on the charts without an actual single or release or a video. So there's no music video for this one, and despite that, it still made it on the charts. So, after starting her career as an actress in the short-lived television series There in 1993, the then 14-year-old Brandy began working on her self-titled album, launched by Atlantic Records in 1994, and obviously they talk about her previous album. So now we're going to get into Angel in Disguise, which was produced by Rodney Jerkins and Brandy, by the way, and recorded by Ken. I'm not going to try and pronounce his last name. We're going to say Ken and Victor McCoy in North Hollywood, California. Not much in regards to this, with the exception of in an interview with Complex Magazine in 2012, Brandy said that Angel in Disguise was one of her absolute favorites. When she heard it, she said, and I quote, "Oh my God, are there really songs like this?" End quote. At first, it was only meant as an intro, but she said, "Are you crazy? We have to make this a real song intro." So there you go with that. Yay, managing most charts. It was 72nd on the US Billboard Hot 100, 17th on the US Hot R&B/Hip Hop Songs charts, 32nd in the US Rhythm charts, and by the end of the year, it was 96th on the US Hot R&B/Hip Hop Song charts, despite the fact there was no single release for this song, nor a music video. Next up is Almost Doesn't Count. This one came out April 13, 1999, and it was recorded in 1997. And yes, there is a music video for this as well. And, ooh, this is interesting. This song was inspired by a powerful but unfruitful on-again, off-again relationship she had with a man in her college years. So Peckin, or Shelley Peckin, who was one of the people who wrote the song, recalled her emotions during a writing session with Guy Roach, who also wrote the song, decades later, when she, and I quote, dug up that laundry list of all the almost I felt we had, and we put them into the song, end quote. In a 2020 interview, she further elaborated about the lyrics, and I'm quoting here, "It was a relationship that was more in my head than in his, and I always felt like we almost got there. He almost said, 'I love you.' He almost broke up with the girlfriend he had the whole time. He almost faced his feelings, but he never quite got there. Maybe that was all in my head too. Maybe he never had any of those feelings. Maybe it was all my imagination," end quote. So that's very interesting stuff right there. Now let's look at the charts. 24th in the Canadian Adult Contemporary, 34th in the Canadian Top Singles, 61st in Europe, 88th in Germany, 13th in New Zealand, 40th in Scotland, 15th in UK Singles Charts, 2nd in the UK R&B Charts, 16th in both in US Billboard Hot 100 and the US Hot R&B/Hip Hop, no, US Hot R&B/Hip Hop Songs Charts, 15th in the US Mainstream Top 40 and 8th in the US Rhythm Charts. By the end of the year 1999, it was 76th in the US Billboard Hot 100, 73rd in the US Hot R&B/Hip Hop Songs Charts, 59th in the US Mainstream Top 40, and 36th in the US Rhythm Charts. And apparently there was a Mark Willis version, who is a country singer, but we ain't gonna get into that. Now, 3 more singles. Next up, You Don't Know Me Like You Used To. This came out September 28, 1999. It was recorded from 1998 to July 12, 1999. So that's very interesting. And yes, there is a music video. There's not a lot of info on this one, although there is a remix version of the track which features Shauna and the Brat, which was accompanied by a remix EP entitled You Don't Know Me ... Like You Used To, the remix EP. Oh, and there is a second music video for this one as well, featuring alternative visuals, So looking at the charts, it was 13th in the UK Dance Charts, 19th in the UK R&B Charts, 79th in the US Billboard Hot 100, and 25th on the US Hot R&B/Hip Hop Songs Charts. And for the record, I did not hear the remix, by the way. So let's move on to the 7th single of this album, which is called Everything I Do It For You, which is very interesting because this is actually a cover, or Brandy's version of the actual song that was performed by Bryan Adams. So he did this for the 1991 film Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, which was a good movie, by the way, for that soundtrack. And he placed it on his 6th album, Waking Up the Neighbors. So, and all that was done in 1991. But we focusing on Brandy's versions. And in case you're wondering, there is, if memory serves me correctly, I want to say that there is a music video for this one. No, there is no music video for this one. I apologize. There's no music video for this one. So there you go with that. It was recorded September 28, it was released in September 28, 1999 and recorded in 1998, in case I didn't mention that. And it made it to one chart, the 28th on the New Zealand charts. And again, there was no music video for this one. All right, now let's move on to the last single finally off of this album, Never Say Never. And it does have somewhat of a, no, this one don't have any music video, excuse me. But one of the singles that I mentioned in the past had a music video, but it was only in Germany. Actually, the last single I just talked about, that's the one that had the music video in Germany, so I apologize for that. Never Say Never came out May 23rd, 2000. It was recorded in October 1997, the LP version, but it was remixed, and that one was recorded in 1998 for 1999. So there's that, and it did not make the chart. And again, it was actually, I think, a single only in Germany. German-speaking Europe, that's basically what it said. So there we go with that. Finally, and we are done with the singles. Now, let me bring you guys my favorite tracks off this album for what's the first. And we're going to start off with the intro. we had a really cool track, and that's really cool. It's really cool. I like how it sounded. Aside from the intro, One Voice is the worst track off this album. Tempo is cool. The melody is cool / really cool. The bass is cool / really cool. The kick is borderline straight and cool. The snares are cool though. There's multiple snares here. And overall, the track is cool. Next up, Put That on Everything. The tempo is cool. The melody is borderline cool, really cool. The bass is cool, same with the kick. And the snares, again, multiple snares. Overall, the track is cool. Then we got Almost Doesn't Count. Semi-mellow joint right here. Tempo is cool. Melody is borderline cool, really cool. There's no bass, so that hurts a bit. The kick is cool. The snares borderline cool, really cool. Overall, this track is cool. Then we got Have You Ever. The tempo is cool. The melody is borderline cool, really cool. The bass is cool. Same with the kick. The snares borderline cool, really cool. Overall, this track is really cool. Next up is Truthfully. Tempo is cool. Same with the melody and the bass and the kick. The snare is really cool. Overall, this track is cool. Then we got Everything I Do It For You. The tempo is cool. Melody and guitar are cool / really cool. There's no bass, which hurts. The kick is borderline cool, really cool. Same with the snare. Overall, this track is still cool. Then we got Learn the Hard Way. The tempo is cool. The melody is borderline cool, really cool. The bass and the kick are cool. The snare is really cool though. Overall, this track is cool. Then we got one of the most unique tracks ever, and that is Tomorrow. So there are 2 different beats in this track right here. And the tempos for both are cool. The melody for the first beat is borderline cool, really cool, but the melody for the second beat is really cool. The bass is cool throughout. Same with the kick. The snares are cool, but the claps, which was only in the first beat, are really cool. Overall, this track is cool. And the changing of the beat starts at the 51-second mark. So that first beat was only short-lived, and then they got on to the second track, which is the second beat, rather, which is a longer one. Then we got Never Say Never. Drum pattern is borderline cool, really cool. Same with the tempo and the melody. The bass is cool, same with the kick. The snare is borderline cool, really cool. Overall, this track is cool. Then we got Happy. The tempo is cool, melody is really cool. The bass is borderline cool, really cool. Same with the kick. The snare is really cool. Overall, this track is really cool. And then we got, and I'll be honest, I'm kind of sad that this one did not make the top 3, but it was the 4th best track off this album, and that is The Boy Is Mine. This is a classic right here. The tempo is excellent. The melody is really cool. The synth bass is borderline cool, really cool. The kick is cool. Should have used a different kick in my opinion. The snare is really cool. Overall, this track is really cool. Now, for the top 3 tracks off this album. The best track off this album is You Don't Know Me Like You Used To. The beat pattern is really cool. Same with the tempo. The melody is cool / really cool. The bass is the same as well. The kick is really cool. Same with the snare. Overall, this track is really cool. Second best track off this album is Top of the World, which is also a classic. The drum pattern is really cool. The tempo is excellent. The melody is borderline cool, really cool, but a bit lackluster doing the hook. The bass is also the same, borderline cool, really cool. Same with the kick. The snare is really cool though. Overall, this track is really cool. And the number 1 track off this album is Angel in Disguise. So all singles right here take the top 4 spots. The drum pattern is really cool. The beat pattern is really cool as well. Same with the tempo and the melody. The bass is cool. The kick is cool as well. The snare are really cool. The snare, are really cool / excellent. Overall, this track is really cool. Without question, Angel in Disguise, the best track off this album, followed by Top of the World, then You Don't Know Me, and then honorable mention, The Boy Is Mine. Now, let me give you guys some honorable mentions. I'm not honorable mentions, but professional reviews. All Music gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. BBC Music, that's new, gave it a positive review. Entertainment Weekly gave it a B. The Independent gave it mixed reviews. The LA Times gave it 2 out of 4 stars. Robert Castell gave it 2 stars out of what? I had no idea. Rolling Stones gave it 3 out of 5, but the Rolling Stone Album Guide gave it a 3.5 out of 5. The spokesperson, those are stars by the way. The Spokesman Review, that's a new one as well, gave it a positive review, and Q gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So what do I think about this album? Okay, so here's the deal. The album, again, is similar to her debut album. This album started off really good, you know, and then it kind of toned it down because it went more R&B, basically in the second half of this album. There's probably only 1 track in the second half of this album where it's like, okay, they picked it up a bit, but yeah, it's the same thing as the last album. But this one got a lot of classics in this one. Top of the World, classic. The Boy Is Mine, pause on that, classic. So yeah, and of course, Have You Ever, those are classics as well. But Angel Disguise, number 1. You Don't Know Me Like You Used To is number 3. I'm gonna have to give this one a 4.25 out of 5. I recommend you download it and you keep it. If you got a physical copy, that's a bonus. So yeah, this is a 4.25 out of 5. I recommend you download it and you keep it. And between this and her debut album, this album to me is her best album out of the two. And this is an album that really elevated her to superstardom. Mostly because of all them singles. That's crazy. So again, 4.25 out of 5. I recommend you download it and you keep it. And I'm gonna call it a wrap. So with all that said, y'all know who this is. This is your boy New Jake Gatsby, aka New Stephen A. Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah.